Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app, O'Connor and Company.
Well, welcome back, everyone, one and all. Where'd you get it go anywhere? So we are continuing our discussion here on News Talk 105.9 WMAL. We are making sense of the news. It is 8:07 in the a.m., A good Friday morning to one and all. I'm Andrew Langer in for Larry O'Connor while he is vacationing. Sitting next to me is Patrice Onwuka. Hello, Patrice.
Happy Friday, Andrew.
Happy Friday to you. That's what I was waiting for. The prompt there. By the way, I tweeted at you a couple of weeks ago. I'm at my auto dealership because I spend a lot of time. My buddy Jerry Rogers, who edits Real Clear Health, Real Clear Policy, Jerry suspects that I live at my auto dealership because I've constantly got cars going in and out of there. This song, Sir Duke by Stevie Wonder, comes on the radio, and I'm like, oh, my God, it must be 8:05 a.m., 8:07 a.m. on WMAL. So I was very, very excited. Listen, we got all kinds of things to talk about on the show today. Yes, I am no longer a Maryland resident, but I'm still very much tied in. Still very much. I was just out in Queen Anne's County. The beginning, actually, it was, the beginning of the month. I don't know. It all blurs together. Was just out there. No, it was in October, the end of October. I was in Queen Anne's County, had a lovely time with the Queen Anne's County Republican Party. Still have good friends both serving in the legislature and active in politics. Joining us right now is Delegate Mark Fisher. He is a member of the Maryland Freedom Caucus. He's on X at Fisher for Maryland. And Mark, listen, let's just start here. We had a surplus, and then it was gone. What's going on in Annapolis?
Well, first I have to ask you, you're not a Marylander anymore? What a shocker.
No, I know. Listen, this surprises everybody. But yeah, I made the jump over to the Commonwealth of Virginia a few years back, but still very much tied in. I know it's a closely held secret, but there you go. Yes, but that's that. But still very tied in, as I said.
Do you know I have a colleague who's a Democrat in the legislature, and I've known him for years. And we talked the other day, literally this week, and I have to say this about this guy, is he's the guy, you can always talk to him, right? He always votes for all the bad stuff, votes for all the tax increases, et cetera, et cetera. And he had the presence of mind to tell me that now that he's getting closer to retirement, he and his wife built a house in Florida.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. Oh, my God. Right. Well, this is the point that I made to Patrice before, because you were talking about the no taxes on retirement, and I said if you live where I used to live, on the Eastern Shore, you can just make the jump over the Delaware border, and it's all well and good. So much of Maryland abuts onto other states that do not tax their citizens in quite the same way. But where did the surplus go, Delegate?
So yes. So, of course, as we all know, Maryland has a spending problem. The truth of the matter is that the governor, and just a quick recap, the governor of Maryland, Governor Moore, inherited a $5 billion surplus. He blew through that surplus and then over the course of 3 years increased taxes and fees by a total of $2 billion. I'm sure you're feeling that, Marylanders, oh, by the way. In fact, one of them that is just so ridiculous is car registration fees, which are so high.
Right.
The state offers you payment plans.
Oh man.
And so, go ahead. Sorry.
Hold on, Mark, because listen, when I first made the jump from the Old Dominion to Maryland years ago, we were at the DMV in Lanham, Maryland, and I'm in the car waiting. My wife is trying to register her car, and she calls me. And she says they want to hit us with a $1,400 Maryland road user tax for importing the car from out of state. And I made it be. I was all set to not register the car in Maryland and face the consequences. Then I looked down; she'd already registered. And I'm like, why'd you even call? But this is what we're talking about here, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, see, I always say this to Marylanders: if you're driving the same car year in, year out, it's titled in your name, and you have the same tags, nothing has changed. Why do we have to keep re-registering it? What is the point of that? Yeah. There isn't a point. And by the way, my favorite complaint from Democrats across the aisle is well, because we have to pay for the roads and bridges. It's like, dude, we have one of the highest gas taxes in the nation. That is what that does. Mm-hmm. The registration fees are just a money grab. That's all they are.
Right.
And it's silly that we have to keep paying it. And now they're offering payment plans, which means the state, by definition, has kind of an equity interest in your car because they're making you pay for it again.
Exactly.
That's a great point.
You know, Delegate Fisher, I am a Maryland resident, and I just, my husband just shelled out a ton of money to register our car again, and I think we have to do it again for the other vehicle we use. And it's so frustrating because Maryland is not a blue Maryland, the voter registration is not 100% blue. There are many conservatives, many Republicans, and I think independent-leaning voters who say, you know what, at least we have one voice in Congress. You know, at least there is a Republican in Congress representing our interest. And, of course, you guys, you and your colleagues representing our interest in the state legislature. But the governor wants to eliminate. He wants to turn us into, you know, he's trying to redistrict. And it's ridiculous. Talk to us about this effort and why, as Marylanders, we should be irate enough to speak out against this.
Sure. So Maryland's Republican Party is actually growing. And we should have 2 to 3 Republicans representing us in the United States Congress. And we only have one. And, of course, that's because of extreme gerrymandering, as we all know. And there's no better example of why we have gerrymandering other than to say, if you're playing baseball and the coach of the opposite team is also the umpire, well, that's the way it works in Maryland. The majority party draws the districts. They make the rules. And they stack everything, including the redistricting commission, which, by the way, the governor appointed Angela Also Brooks.
Oh, goodness.
Brian Frosch.
Right.
And then, you know, a token Republican from Cumberland. His name's Ray Morris, who's a nice enough man, but he's so needy for his town because, you know, the town is so beaten down. The point is, though, the Democrats want to get rid of Andy Harris. And the reason they want to get rid of Andy Harris is because of the fact that he is outspoken and principled when it comes to fiscal responsibility. Andy Harris is the head of the Freedom Caucus of the United States, and I am proud to say I am a member of the Maryland Freedom Caucus with 6 other colleagues. Right. And we're the people who are actually fighting for the middle class and fighting for the working people, trying to make it more affordable to live in the state of Maryland. So here's my argument, and I've made this to the governor's communications guy, his head communications guy on X, because he said, well, Fisher, you don't pass any bills. So let me ask you something. Here are some of the bills that we put in, and do you think by having more Democrats, we're going to be able to pass these bills? Lowering electricity prices. We have a whole package of bills, the Freedom Caucus. Eliminate retirement income taxes. Eliminate taxes on tips. Eliminate taxes on overtime. I mean, just go down the list. All of these are middle-class initiatives which reward work and allow people to live in the state. And so to your point, with this redistricting commission, do we think that by making Maryland a complete and utter one-party state, that the citizens are going to be better off than they are today or worse off?
Right.
I think that's the easy answer.
And this hearing... this hearing is at 4 o'clock today. Folks, go and testify. It's actually very easy. One of the great things about Maryland, listen, the legislators may not listen to you on the Democratic side, but nevertheless, it's important to get out there and say something. Where do folks need to go? How early do they need to sign up to testify? What should they bring with them?
They should definitely bring whatever factoids that they have that they think will help them. But the end of the day is that this, and I have to be frank with you, this commission is stacked. It is absolutely stacked. Yeah. And the fact of the matter is that people are going to, the people on the commission are notorious for acting like they're actually listening, but they're really not. And I hate to say that, but this is the way the Democrat Party, they become so arrogant, they don't listen. And look, the state has been downgraded by Moody's. So do you think we need more Democrats? We've lost the Commanders. We've lost Six Flags. We've lost Pimlico. We've lost the FBI headquarters. We've lost the quantum computing hub. I mean, this governor is a train wreck, and he wants to be the president of the United States. Do you really think electing more Democrats in Maryland is going to make your life better? Because it hasn't so far.
Well, I would listen. I would show up at the very least. Show up with the Washington Post opinion piece that says that this move is embarrassing Maryland. Delegate Mark Fisher, how do folks find out more about the good work you're doing?
You can find me on Fisher4, like the number 4 Maryland, Fisher4 Maryland. We'd love to have you follow us on X. We're very active on there and giving you up-to-date stories, like the latest story today where the governor is giving $6 million to a nonprofit in Baltimore where the head of it owes $200,000 in back taxes. So we just posted that this morning.
I just
just
can't
gets
even.
worse and worse. Thank you, Delegate.
Literally, thank you, Delegate. As someone who did regular radio in Maryland, it's like every day it's the same story about corruption and self-dealing. Listen, we'll continue in just a moment.
WMAL, making sense of the news. Live from the Home Paramount Pest Control Studios. Home Paramount, the leader in pest control since 1939.
Patrice, we could talk about I could talk about Baltimore till the cows come home. Actually, that would be more Harford County. I could talk about Harford County till the cows come home. No, I could talk about Baltimore. We could talk about Baltimore crime, Maryland crime, the increasing crime in places like Prince George's County. I know that's where you live, and
yes.
In Montgomery County as well. But obviously, we still have a problem here in the district, which is just it's every. Listen, I don't know if you know this, but I was in the hotel where the first murder of 2024 was committed. I was doing a
Do
New
I say
Year's
congratulations?
Day here on O'Connor Company.
I don't know.
Yeah,
if there's
I know.
A consolation prize.
I've watched it. I watched it there. Yeah, I was staying in a hotel around the corner from the station. New Year's Eve, and woke up to having cops in my hotel. Anyway, we had a very nice run there while the National Guard was active and everybody knew it. I loved it because I could park my car anywhere in the city and I could be reasonably certain that I was not going to have somebody run a screwdriver handle through my car window and try to steal stuff from me. Now we got this horrifying story from earlier this week. A 12-year-old girl suspected in 2 D.C. robberies. Washington, D.C.'s MPD arrested a 12-year-old girl on Sunday after she allegedly committed 2 robberies here. I mean, this is where we
insane.
are. And obviously it is representative of everything that is wrong with localities that are firmly within the grip of Democratic governance. Obviously, listen, I know we're gonna start seeing more stories of these out of New York, but I know you're as horrified as I am. Talk about that.
I mean, I'm looking through these charges here. A robbery snatch at 7:47 p.m. Shortly after purchasing groceries, the victim was riding her bike on M Street and approached by a group of juveniles. And the juveniles threw a bike into the path of the victim, and then 2 more took some groceries, and took the bike. I mean, these are just some of the things that are going on here. These snatches, targeting regular citizens. I mean, come on. You see someone with groceries and you're going to steal the bike and take a bag of Doritos while you're on your way out. This is what speaks to, Andrew, I think, not just the violence and the dangerousness, but also just the lack of public safety. I mean, if you don't feel comfortable riding your bike through all of the ridiculous bike lanes in the city just to get groceries and get yourself home, then it makes you not even want to leave your house.
Listen. As someone who's a devotee of the VO scooters in downtown D.C., I use them all over the place. The little sit-down scooters to get everywhere. I'm liking the bike lanes a little bit more, but I get it. They're a pain. But I'm going to use a little bit of go into the sociological well here. One of the best moments when the Freddie Gray funeral happened in Baltimore. This is 10 years ago now. Holy cow! Maybe 8 years ago. I don't remember. It's all a blur. But the point is that there was a rioter who was out there. And I don't know if you remember this, Patrice, but a mother came out, saw her son as part of the rioting mob, grabbed him by the ear, and pulled him back to the house. So we have the question that's on everybody's minds. And by the way, if you haven't seen the video clip, this is the new meme of 2025. Michael, let's play cut 15A, please. 15A.
God, where her mother at? Where this little girl mother at? Where they role models at? Where's the adults? That's the question we all trying to figure out.
100%. And yeah, this guy is it's the realest bro on the street, as someone says on Twitter here. It is really kind of incredible. Listen, we've got so much more to get to. It's 8:22 here on WMAL. More on D.C. crime when we come back. Plus, I'm going to talk a little bit about the weekend stuff. Oh, a guy's going viral. We're going to play that full interview. I am Andrew Langer. She is Patrice Onwuka. We are jamming out here on WMAL. It is 8:30 in the morning.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. News now. Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
We are back, everybody. I'm Andrew Langer in for Larry O'Connor. Today, we'll be in for Larry O'Connor a bit, sitting alongside Patrice Onwuka. Good morning, Patrice.
Good morning, Andrew, and happy Friday. We made it.
Happy Friday. We made it. We made it through the week. It's going to be a pleasant weekend, maybe a little rain tomorrow. Anyway, it is 8:37 on News Talk 105.9 WMAL. We are making sense of the news. And there's a lot that we need to make sense of these days.
Tell me about it.
Especially as we are dealing with, very young kids committing some fairly heinous crimes here. And something, it's not as though folks don't get it. It's not as though they don't get it. It's they understand the cognitive dissonance that is out there. I'm going to throw some big words at you on a Friday morning because we're in the 8 a.m. hour. I can do that. Getting you prepped for Chris Plant, the high-end language of our good friend Chris is going to be joining us in a few minutes. There's a Fox 5 was interviewing folks about this situation with this 12-year-old girl who was arrested. This guy is going viral, as I said, both visually, and I am going to spend some time this weekend trying to turn his quote into a song. But let's go ahead, Michael, play cut number 15A.
God, where her mother at? Where this little girl mother at? Where they role models at? Where's the adults? That's the question we all trying to figure out.
Hear, hear. Yes, that's the question we're all trying to figure out. And again, it's not just the 12-year-old girls. I mean, Patrice, you want to tee this up? I mean, this is because, you and I both had the same reaction. This is stuff that was happening when you and I were kids. Actually, this is before your time. This is even, yes. But talk about this other story.
Exactly. I mean, another story that we also saw reported out of NBC4 Washington, D.C., is that a teenager was shot and killed in Southeast as someone tried to rob his jacket. I don't know about you folks listening, but I remember I grew up in Boston in the low-income parts of the city, also known as the Hood, after my family moved here. And that's what we saw. You saw the sneakers hanging over the power lines, which represented a gang-affiliated neighborhood. And you heard about kids getting shot over a gold necklace, a jacket, a pair of sneakers. And the fact that we are unfortunately, and this is, I'm dating myself, but going on almost 40 years later, this is exactly the same kind of senseless violence that we're seeing again. I mean, the increased police presence can't come more, but we need to keep these kids. We need to ensure that they're getting punished because obviously they haven't learned a lesson yet.
Well, they haven't learned a lesson, but the point is that we seem to have not learned the important role that policing plays in all of this, right? When you have an increased police presence and you actually have people getting arrested, you actually have, the folks being held accountable for their actions, lo and behold, things change. Here in D.C., right? We put National Guard presence on the streets and things changed. Here is this NBC4 report. Let's go ahead and play cut 16.
But last Saturday, 3 people were murdered in 3 separate incidents. Tonight, News 4's Jackie Benson spoke with the godfather of 17-year-old Tristan Johnson. Police sources told us detectives are looking into the possibility that the high school student was shot and killed by people trying to rob him of his jacket.
When I would talk to him about future plans, he'd be like, well, I'm thinking about starting a vending machine business or owning my own trucking companies.
17-year-old Tristan Johnson was a young man with plans and the energy and determination to make them come true, says his godfather, Davian Morgan. Pictures from Tristan's life, his years at Ingenuity Prep Public Charter School in the district, and then at Dr. Henry A. Wise High School in Prince George's County fill his phone.
And he was very outgoing. So even if you didn't know him, you knew of him, and he was going to eventually find his way to introduce you to himself.
Family members know Tristan was with some friends around 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon when he was shot and killed in the 1900 block of C Street Southeast, not far from the Stadium Armory Metro Station.
Yeah, I mean, it is, it's one of those things where I hate that one of my immediate reactions was, well, if he'd just given up the jacket, maybe he wouldn't have been killed. But I don't like saying that. Listen, I am someone.
And we don't know if that would have happened either, Andrew.
Right. That's the thing. At the end of the day,
there's a loss of. I mean, there's such a loss of life. There's not an appreciation for life among these young people. So it's just so sad because you've got the story about these kids who are just running amok, stealing stuff, and then other kids getting shot over a jacket. What is wrong with these young people?
Listen, were you ever, when you were growing up in Boston, were you ever mugged? Were you ever attacked like this?
Thankfully not. But I did find drug needles in my school backyard. I don't know if that counts.
Oh, no, it counts. It counts to an extent. But, I was mugged a number of different times when I was growing up. And, both in New York City and in the suburbs. And it was only when I had the confidence to fight back it finally stopped, and you finally, you have the situational awareness. And I hate the fact that there was a moment where I had to make that decision and stand up. Right, it would be nice to just be able to go through life and not have that happen, and yet it does. But obviously, again, there is this relationship, and you have to understand. There is a relationship between parenting and the behavior of the kids. There is a relationship between the police presence and the amount of crime that's out there. I mean, this is, we have to take steps to deal with this. We got so much more. Actually, we got Critter News, Patrice, coming up. It's 8:43 on WMAL. Very excited too.
Mark Levin, weekdays 6 till 9 on 105.9 WMAL, making sense of the news.
Yes, it is time for Critter Corner, and both Patrice and I are obsessed with this story to the point where I miss my cues.
Yes.
My apologies, Jamie. I will make it up to you down the other end. Big story out of Alexandria, Virginia. I saw the headline, Fox with rabies found in Alexandria, Virginia. Immediately asked the question, is this one of Julie Gunlock's neighbors? Apparently not. And then Patrice had a question, which we'll get to in a second. But yeah, this is not too disquieting. Listen, as we're dealing with aliens approaching the Earth, or alien spacecraft potentially approaching the Earth, we're dealing with rabies. I'm sorry, Heather, you buried the lead on this. It's not that a rabid fox was found. It's that another rabies-infected fox was found. So there have been other rabies-infected foxes. There is an increased risk of exposure in the Alexandria community after another fox tested positive for rabies. According to the Alexandria Health Department, the fox encountered a dog and a person near a home in the Rosemont area. That is actually near where Julie lives, I believe. The animal has since died, and testing revealed that it had rabies. A health department official said health authorities are working with the exposed person. Does that mean when they say an exposed person, does that mean that they were bit, or does that mean that they were just around the rabid fox?
Good question.
I don't know. That is.
I mean, if their animals, their cat or their dog was bitten by the rabies infested fox, and now you're hanging out with your dog and your cat, and maybe they playfully scratch you or playfully nibble you, maybe that's where the exposure comes from. I mean, my question in all of this, Andrew, this is a serious one now. Can you turn that rabid fox into a stole? Like, can you use the skin? Can you use the fur and put it into a jacket? I mean, because
this is and you asked me this question as we were talking about this story during the break, and in point of fact, Patrice, yes, you can. So in fact,
so
if
there's a redeeming element to this story.
If you'd had both the original fox and the second fox to be found. So presumably there are others out there. Yes, you can, because you are curing it, you're drying it, you're tanning it. All of those processes they help to get rid of the the rabies virus. Yes, it's a virus. Now, speaking of other things,
let it never be said that folks do not walk away with news you can use. This means that if you see a rabid fox in your neighborhood, do your county a solid, take care of that animal, and then go have the skins treated and take care of your wife for Christmas. You're welcome, everybody.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
Put in a claim. Exactly. That's exactly right. So now here's the next question. So have you ever gotten one of these tick bites? You ever been bit by a tick?
No.
All right, you are very fortunate, because the other critter news we have is airline pilot dies from a tick bite. A 47-year-old airline pilot from New Jersey is the first person known to have died from alpha-gal syndrome. Now, I have had both Lyme disease and alpha-gal. I literally was just telling this story last week to somebody.
And you've been
I got
mugged,
bit in
Andrew.
2011.
What hasn't happened to you?
Oh yeah, listen. Thankfully, so much has not happened to me, and I'm not going to knock wood here. But the point is, this is no joke. 2011 4th of July weekend. I'm out lighting fireworks. Yes, illegally lighting fireworks out on the Eastern Shore, and I got a tick bite. And a couple of days later, I go on a business trip. And I get sick. I'm like laid out, thinking that it's food poisoning, sun poisoning, or something. I come home. I won't get into the details of the story. I thought that I had Rocky Mountain spotted fever because I used Dr. Google. My wife, who's a physician, said, "No, you weren't in the Rocky Mountains. There's no way you have Rocky Mountain spotted fever." But it turns out, I had Lyme disease and another sort of tropical disease that made it appear like I had Rocky Mountain spotted fever. But then I developed alpha-gal afterwards, which I don't know if you're familiar with this, but this is this really nasty allergy you get following getting a bite from a Lone Star tick.
Wow.
You are allergic to red meat, and you have this reaction to it, and it took me years to get over it. Some folks, it's not even just red meat. The man's death had previously been seen as a mystery, since medical examinations showed no evidence of a heart attack or other life-threatening issues. But the researchers at the University of Virginia School of Medicine, see, we're back to UVA news you can use, had revealed the cause of death Wednesday. After months of investigation, their findings were published in the Journal of Allergy and Clinical Immunology in Practice. The man started feeling sick 4 hours after consuming a hamburger at a barbecue in 2024. Well, we all know what we all immediately thought, that he got food poisoning from the hamburger, or from the barbecue with the hamburger. When he returned home, he was well enough to mow the lawn and read the paper. And then, 2 weeks earlier, the man had become ill after eating a steak dinner on a camping trip with his wife and children. And he didn't... he and his wife were uncertain of what can happen. This is the problem, by the way.
Oh, man.
This is the problem with both Lyme disease and alpha-gal, is that unless you have some other sort of confounding issue to sort of get you to go get tested here, you can go undetected. If you go with undiagnosed Lyme disease, it can ravage your central nervous system. I mean, it can have huge, long-lasting results. But this is, with alpha-gal, as I said, you develop this allergy. The level basically he had is basically only seen in fatal cases of anaphylaxis. His level was 2,000. The highest level I've seen in a person who survived is 100. Blood testing also revealed antibodies to a sugar called alpha-gal, a telltale sign of a tick-borne meat allergy. Alpha-gal is found in the blood of cows, deers, goats, and pigs. When ticks feed on these mammals, the sugar gets into their saliva and can be transmitted to humans through bites. This is no joke here. I mean, it really is. Yeah, I know. We're up on a break. So, guys, stay careful out there. Thankfully, we're getting out of the season where tick bites are prevalent. But if you're out in the woods, if you know that there's potential tick stuff, go and get yourself some insect repellent. Put it on your ankles. Put it on elsewhere. Go and make sure. Listen, we'll there's more to come in a moment.